the wild winds call. Jasper's walking, taking pictures of it all. Boots on the ground, heart in the sky, following the blazes, just a rambling guy. Through the valleys, over the hills, chasing that freedom, feeling the thrill. With every sunrise, he's finding his way, living the dream, one step a day. Trail named Jasper, walking on through, Bruce trail bound with a camera view, hiking the ridges, chasing the light.
Just behind me is where we entered into the tiny section of the Ganaraska Trail and left the Wasaga section. Now right here is where, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we sat on the snowbank. We weren't going to go ahead because there was way too much snow and ice and so on, but this is exactly where the Ganaraska Trail leads now, into single file forest and swamp. Down there is where we actually did go. At the end of this road, if you remember the park, we were there a couple of times with the picnic tables and so on. But today we're entering into the single file forest. So it is going to make, there are some ups and downs, and as I say, there's going to be quite a bit of swamp and mud today. Have to be careful, there's still some ice here and there. And again, after the hip replacement, we just can't fall right now. That's a fact. But anyhow, continuing with the hike to the Tiny Marsh. Getting ready for a break time, I think. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Blaze on this little tree right there. Let's just keep hiking. Well, there is still quite a bit of snow still through here, which, due to the kind of warming and cooling and warming and cooling, is pretty much turned into pack ice. So we have to go very, very carefully, slowly, carefully. I'm seeing lots of two things. Coyote droppings and deer prints. Yeah, I've seen lots of those on this trail this morning. Okay, everything's going well, feeling good, body feels fine. Left hip, well, it's always a little achy. Still a little achy when I'm kind of working it, stiff, but that's quite normal, I understand. The right Achilles heel or tendon, that's the one that's causing the pain these days. In fact, yesterday it was extremely painful for whatever reason, but I was in the gym yesterday morning and I do 30 minutes on the Stairmaster, and that quite often aggravates the hell out of it. Anyhow, yeah, lots and lots of packed ice and snow still out here on this trail. But it's definitely passable as long as we go careful. We're okay. More deer prints right below me. Oh dear, I'm gonna see if I can show you those. But right down there, if you see them, there's deer prints here, hoof prints, and right in here, hoof prints, all the way up this specific part of the trail. There's the deer prints. You know, spring, early spring too, but spring in general is just a wonderful time of year. Today we're actually, I guess, 1 full week into spring now, but it's a wonderful time of year. It's a slow transition from, well, yeah, our winter months to our spring, and then of course summer months. Still lots of deer trails through here, but now in the muck, the mud, the sand. But you know, it's this time of year is the thoughts of what's to come, the thoughts of new life, and in the forms of, you know, leaves on trees and bushes and new branches and so on. But to wildlife, you know, and all the new offspring that the, you know, wildlife will bring into the world this year. It just promises so much, this early spring. I just love it, I really do. Just take a look at the forest around me. Yeah. Wow. I always say things such as, you know, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. In fact, for the longest time, that was kind of a key phrase. Because, you know, being out here on trail, there's nowhere else I'd rather be, that's for sure. However, there is a bit of an update to that. As much as I enjoy being out here, oh, we got to descend, we got to make sure we're careful here. Very rooty and slippy. But as much as I enjoy being out on trail, there are trails that I would like to be on. So when I say there's nowhere else I'd rather be, maybe I should say there's nothing else I'd rather be doing right now. Maybe that would be more accurate. Because even though I enjoy greatly the Ganaraska Trail, and I do. In fact, I'm not sure, but there is a small possibility, though there is a possibility that I'll through hike the Ganaraska this year. Maybe if I don't go to Scottish Highlands, maybe that would be a fallback trail to do. Would be a through of the Ganaraska. I love the Ganaraska, but well, the Scottish Islands for one. There's a trail I'd love to be on. The Appalachian I'd love to be on. The Florida Trail for sure. Arizona Trail for sure. There's all trails that I'd love to be on right now, probably more so than say this one. So yeah. The saying is officially changing from nowhere else I'd rather be to there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. Yeah. So, there we go. Snow, packed ice, packed snow, deer tracks. Yep. Blowdowns right ahead, but that's it, easily pass under. And there we go. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about gear today too. I got things going on in my mind, but we'll see. We'll see how we make out. Just up here a ways is where we're going to get into the swamp area. And traditionally, it's just a mud bath. However, this morning, still being below freezing, and this packed ice on the trail here, maybe we'll get lucky and maybe we'll still be in a packed ice situation in that swamp area. I don't know for sure. We'll see. So we actually did make it through the swamps with very, very minimal problems. Two reasons why. Sure, there's a lot of water in that swamp. There's no doubt about that. But the actual trail tries to take you just, I'm going to say, a few inches to the side of it, where the ground could be slightly higher. And the fact that the ground's very tight. It's still quite frozen, especially this morning, with below freezing temperatures. So that in itself made a huge difference. So yeah, today's passage of the swamp was fine. It is going to get worse, a lot worse. As it warms up and all this rest of this snow and ice melts, it's just going to increase the water level. And that trail will just get a lot more water, a lot more mud. And that will be like that until probably July, mid-July. Anyhow. Okay. So, quite happy with that. So far, so good. Yeah, so far, so good. I always thought some great tenting through here in the summertime and so on. Just great tenting spots. Perfect place, you know, if you're hiking any distance through this area for a wild camp, because I mean, just look, there's lots of areas you can tuck to the side. Now, 4x4s go through all here, but you can tuck to the side and nobody will bother you there. By the way, just for a point of interest, I mentioned I was going to talk about some gear, but one of the things I wanted to mention was I am wearing my waterproof socks today. Now, essentially seal skins, although these are not a seal skin brand. The ones I'm wearing today, I believe, I had two pairs, but I think this one is the Libera pair. I've had these for several years, but I don't use them often. I learned my lesson back on the Oak Ridges Trail a few years ago, which Andre and I did together in the summertime. And we had days, most days, rained a lot. So I wore my, we'll call them sealskins, waterproof socks every day. But the problem is, in the warm weather, your feet do sweat. And because of the aggressive nature of the material in the waterproof socks, it just rubs your feet raw. And after a couple of days of hiking in them, it's just taking the skin right off and it becomes very, very, very painful. So I learned my lesson. I only wear them if I think I'm going to need them, like a day like today, coming through that swamp, and again in cold temperatures. Yeah, just thought I'd mention that for one part about gear. There's other things coming up. Okay, we've got a little climb here, not much, and then we're going to take a break. Back at my trusty log. This is usually where I take a break on this particular section of the Ganaraska Trail, or on this particular hike anyhow. I sit right here. There used to be an old oil drum from a furnace oil from a home just up the trail a little bit, and I used to sit on that. But I guess somebody was out collecting scrap metal and it's gone. But this log, I've used it for the last few times that I've done this hike, which was last year, and it works just fine. Got my coffee, as always, and I'm having one of the Freshie ball bar things, the chocolate coconut. Now I'm coming out of the forest. This right here is a farm field with a farm to my left, and then I come out onto a gravel road. But the wind is now picking up just a little bit, but you really feel it now that you're not sheltered in the forest, and it just, that wind chill factor just cools right off. I do have another rain jacket in my pack that I can put on, but again, I'm just sat down right now, so I'm not moving. So yeah, I want to talk more a bit about gear, backpacks. We changed backpacks at the end of last year. I sold my Ipolite. I liked my Ipolite. My Ipolite was my Mountain Gear Ipolite Southwest 55 liter, and I loved it. Like most backpacks, not all, because some were quite adjustable. that particular backpack is not at all adjustable, so you have to get rather the small, the medium, the large, or the tall. And I went with the tall. And I loved it, and I used it on many trails, but I ended up selling it, got a reasonable dollar for it. And that's when I bought the new one that I plan on using, or at least trying. But first of all, why did I sell the Ipolite? Well, I went with the tall, and my torso measurement is about 21 inches. 20 and a half to 21, even though I'm tall at 6'2", but as mentioned before, I'm shrinking. But anyhow, I find I needed another inch or two adjustment in the shoulder straps that I didn't have. And not that it really mattered, I would have been happy to keep that pack, but I realized I should have got the large and not the tall. The tall would have fit me better, the large would have fit me better rather than the tall. That was the primary reason at the time of selling it. And I replaced it with a knockoff brand from Amazon that's got great write-ups. It's the Nature Hike. It's an ultralight, comes in at 2.5 ounces. I think it was a 55-litre pack. And I did pack all my gear into it. That seemed to work fine, but that's all I've done with it, because I bought it at the end of last year, and it was getting to the point where my hip would not allow me to hike. So I haven't actually had the chance to get it out on trail, but we're going to be doing that very soon. If for some reason I have to change that pack, it being basically a lower price knockoff, so if for some reason I have to change it, there's two packs I have in mind that I would look at closely. First of all, I wouldn't go back to the Hyperlite because it's a 600 Canadian dollar price tag, and I don't want to do that. But I would look at the Durston Kakwa 55 litre. I know I'm not a fan of Durston, but not a fan of their tent, only because of, you know, it just didn't work for me. I found the footprint way too big. But anyhow, again, they're just like their tents, their packs have got great write-ups, and I would try the 55 litre Durston Kakwa. Or I may be tempted to go back to, and I know I've bashed Osprey, but I would also consider going back to the Osprey Exos 58 litre. Just saying. I'm going to continue with my break, and we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Ooh. So we have arrived at the Tiny Marsh. There is a Blue Blaze side trail which will take you down here and around and basically back to where we are right now. That's a walk of the Tiny Marsh. That's around 2 kilometers, and there's a tower lookout and some broad walk and so on and so on. It's interesting. We're not going to do that today. We're not going to do that today. We're going to proceed to the Welcome Center, which is down this trail ahead of me. Maybe, I don't know, half a kilometer down here on the left, and that's where we're going to make our turnaround point and have our break time. And I have some coffee, some electrolyte water. I have multigrain with peanut butter, and I have an orange, and I have some granola bars, and I have a Kit Kat. So I'm pretty well healed as far as taking a break here is concerned. So I'm feeling pretty good. The hip feels great. I mean, it's not even feeling stiff right now. The Achilles tendon, right Achilles tendon and calf, it's sore for sure, but not as bad as it's been before. You know what? I'm hoping we're going to get through this hiking season with that Achilles heel, Achilles tendon, because we've got some great things planned. But I am 110% delighted with the progress of my left hip. And in all truthfulness, that's all to the skill of Dr. Collins in Collingwood. I've said it before, a fine young surgeon, and yeah, just delighted with the whole process there. Okay, you can see the building ahead of us. That's the Welcome Centre. These days the Welcome Centre itself is actually closed due to lack of funding. I've seen it open once just through a volunteer, and I had thought about trying to volunteer and keep it open in the summertime. I don't know, I thought about it because it's a great little facility and I think it should be open. But anyhow, I guess the government doesn't see things my way, doesn't need to be opened. But there is an organization that manages and tries to maintain the area. But again, it's just not funded. Okay, here we are. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. We'll take a break time. This is where we sit, take a break time. We're sheltered from the wind a little bit anyhow. So that's nice. Yeah. So my break time is over. And we just came back down the trail from the Welcome Centre, but I know I said I wasn't going to go around the 2-kilometer loop of the Tiny Marsh today, but here we are going around the loop of the Tiny Marsh today. Now, I'm not sure if we'll get all the way around simply because this time of year it tends to flood across the walkway and may or may not be frozen if it did flood. And yeah, we'll just have to have a look, but let's just start and see. I just met a young lady who's a photographer, and she was a Nikon shooter, and she was out identifying and capturing images of birds. Early spring migration, I guess. Okay. Feeling good. It feels great. Had my break, had my coffee, drank it all, didn't save any for later. Had my half of a peanut butter sandwich and Kit Kat bar and a Lara bar. I was hungry, but now I'm full of beans, full of juice, and so hence the 2-kilometer around the Tiny Marsh walkway, and then we'll head back the way we came, back to where we started this morning. Okay, let's take a little climb up the observation tower. We'll leave the trekking poles right there. Let's go up, have a look. I hear lots of geese. I've seen lots of geese in the fields eating corn stubble from last year's crop. Yeah. Oh, look. Looks like I'm going to take you out of my sternum strap so you can see better. I'm not sure if the GoPro will show you this, but there's lots of geese out there. But what I wanted to show you was the buds coming on the trees. You see those? Yeah. Take a look, see. Wow. Let's go up to the next and final level. It's not a huge observation tower, but It certainly is interesting. Take a look around. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we've been up here many times. Wow. And if you want to spend time here, have lunch, whatever, they've got a nice bench built into this. Oh yeah. Down there you can see the broadwalk or the walkway we're going to walk along. Looks like it's above the water, so that'll be great. Okay, let's carry on. So making my way through the broadwalk, we have come to an area that is just all ice, uneven and treacherous. Treacherous for me, because I must be very careful, gingerly as I go. And it's funny, I have my micro spikes in my pack, but now I'm on this stuff, it would be too hard to put them on. So I have to go careful. Looks like we're going to get out of it very shortly. Just a little bit more. I think you can probably see how nervous I am about falling. Yeah. Okay, so we're off our actual broad walk and back onto earth kind of trail. So that's okay. We shall take that. Yes, sir, we'll take that. Okay. Alrighty. Alright. Through here, there's usually lots of black-capped chickadees. I didn't bring any food for them. I just wasn't thinking. Normally I do. In fact, normally I put a lot of food in here for them. But all the food is all gone. Okay. But I haven't seen any today so far. Normally you see lots. They come just hovering around you, kind of, I guess, searching for a little treat. Or a handout. And I posted it before, videos where you just hold your hand out and they come and land in your hand and eat some grains, and yeah, it's pretty damn cool. Okay. Well, so far so good as we make our way around this trail. Looks like we're going to get into significantly more ice and snow up here. But again, I just go carefully. And it's just, we have to deal with it. Right ahead of me is another lookout on the Tiny Marsh Trail. We'll just take a little peek up there. This is just a kind of a bench seating area on a raised kind of ground platform, I guess. Oh, I see a few geese in the distance. But that's about it. Wow. It's a beautiful sky today. Again, as a photographer, I love like varying shades of gray You just really add to, say, a landscape image rather than, you know, a sunshine, blue sky type of thing. Like the clouds over there, the rippling effect. Just beautiful. The different layers of different shades of grey. Okay, let's carry on, heading back to where we started from. Well, all the swamp is now behind me. The trail that we just came down, right there, and the trail where we're going. A little higher and much, much drier now. So the swamp area is behind me. So that is a good thing. We're doing just fine. Because we're back along the sand dunes for the final time today. Yeah. It's been a very good hike. Now, oh yeah, my legs, my hips know that I've done this hike today. There's no doubt about that. Around 22.5 kilometers for the day. That's okay. That's okay. A little bit more than last time, and a little bit more challenging terrain than last time. So yeah, I'm happy with our progress. I think shortly something we're going to have to incorporate into our kind of rehabilitation training. I think we're going to have to look to Blue Mountain for some elevation gain. I think that's coming up quite quickly. Something else that we need to think about. But anyhow, thank you for joining me today. The Tiny Marsh is always interesting. We didn't see a lot of wildlife today, but sometimes we do. But just not today. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we do need all the subscribers we can get. Without you guys, there is no channel. You know what? I'm going to talk to you next time. Again, thank you for joining me today. Jasper is out.